This is Betty Marky from Clarn Lakes Taekwondo. What was the main reason for starting the business?
Because my son wanted to do Taekwondo the rest of his life.
Okay.
And we were offered it too. I mean, we were offered one that was already in existence.
Gotcha. How much time, money, and planning did it take before deciding to start your martial arts school?
We actually were kind of thrown into it. It took 2 weeks because we were offered it, as I said, and we had to make a decision within a week.
Okay.
So 2 weeks to get the corporation and everything, name, everything.
How much did it cost to start the business? What was your capital, your startup capital, and how did you obtain it?
Startup capital was $100,000 is what we were buying the existing business for. And we put in 75, Ray and I, and we took a home equity line of credit. And then my brother Steve put in $25,000, and that's how we came up with the percentages.
Okay. What's the percentages of each shareholder?
It is Ray 65%, which is my husband. Steve, my brother, is 25%. He is part investor. Blaine is 10%. I'm 0 because I'm with Ray too.
How, what, when, and where do you advertise and promote your business?
Our biggest marketing is the schools, because most of our Taekwondo students are school-age kids. So we actually are business partners in 5 schools, and that's where we put most of our marketing money. We do a newsletter too that is in the neighborhoods, so that everything is in the neighborhoods.
Okay. Which schools are those that you promote at?
Sure. It is Clarn Lakes Elementary, Hawks Rise Elementary, DeSoto Trail Elementary, Gilcrest Elementary, and then Deer Lake Middle School and Childs. Did I say 5 or 6? But that's 6.
Seeing as there's mostly elementary schools, would you assume that your target market is 7 to 10-year-olds?
That's where the majority of our students go. We'd love to expand it to teens, but I mean we put the money where we have the most students. So we'd love to target other areas. It just doesn't happen that way.
Okay. How many programs do you have at your school?
We have Taekwondo, Jazzercise, yoga, Pilates, cage fitness, parkour. Am I missing any? I don't think I'm missing any.
I think that's it. How do you select potential employees that you will trust?
Most of the time, we take Taekwondo students, or even with Jazzercise, I take Jazzercise students, so we know them as a student or as a customer, so we choose from there.
How do you decide among interested family members who play a role in the business? So pretty much, which roles do each of the owners and family members play in the business?
Well, we actually duke it out. No, we decide by strengths and weaknesses. And I think that, because we've been in business about 7.5 years, and I think in the first probably year and a half, it was very hard to figure out whose position or whose job was going to be what. It also has to do with how much time, because I'm the only full-time right now. Ray works full-time at FSU. My brother just retired, but he did when we started work full-time with the state, and Blaine is in college full-time. So I think right now it's each year it changes, but it's how each of the owners can best help the business at the time it is right then. In 3 years, when all of us are retired or out of school or working full-time on it, it's going to be a totally different way that we help. But I manage everything because I'm the only full-time, and I'm the good one with paperwork and stuff. And so we just make sure we play on everybody's strengths and everybody's weaknesses. We don't want them to have their weakness being their top job.
Were you hesitant about working with family members?
Yes. That was not even a yes. Yes, yes, yes.
Why?
Well, it's very hard to work with family because if you get mad or irritated, you have to come home to it. My husband and I are opposites, complete opposites, so that's a big thing. You're one of those that has good sides for everything, and you look at it, but sometimes that's bad too. But you have strong opinions. So Blaine has strong opinions. I have strong opinions. My husband has strong opinions. The fourth one in is my brother Steve, and luckily he's a little more low-key, but sometimes that's hard because if you don't want to take a vote, it's hard when we're having to vote on stuff. But yes, family members, I would never suggest people going into business with family. But it's worked for us, and as long as we all stay in our own parts, it's very good.
If you plan to expand, how do you plan on doing so?
You're asking a question about expanding. I think the biggest thing with expanding right now is we're wanting to develop an organization. So I think that's the biggest thing is we're in the process of planning it. And it's really exciting to see how it's going to go in the future. But that's the biggest thing. Right now, where we are in our location, there's not much more room for expansion. So it's going to be expanding into more martial arts schools.
What is it that you feel has made your business a success?
I think probably all of our personalities. I mean, we are a family-owned business, and we're very community-oriented, and we make people feel welcome. I mean, people want martial arts for their kids a lot of times, or for them, or for their teens, but when they come in, they definitely feel welcome. We know everybody's names. We talk to everybody. We know grandparents. We know, I just had a new student start. They are driving 40 minutes to come to us, and he actually walked into 3 or 4 different martial arts schools and picked us just because of how we talked to him when he first came in, him and his child.
How many schools do you think he's passing every day to come into class? Martial arts schools.
At least 6. At least 6, because he's coming from Appalachia Parkway, which is on the south side of Tallahassee, all the way to us. So he goes straight down Capitol Circle.
Okay. What is the worst experience you've had while operating your business? Or the worst customer, or...
I've only had 2 really bad experiences with parents, and one was a divorced mother-father. The father always brings them. The mom started. She was just really wacko, and I had dealt with her, and one day she was almost yelling over the counter about one of our instructors, or a couple of our instructors, and I was very nice, very professional, and she said something, and I was like, I need to just walk away right now because I know you're not in the best frame of mind, and I'll get back with you, and so that was a big thing with her, and she came afterwards. We were fine. The other one was man wanted to quit after he signed and paid in full, and he was just really rude. I was going to give him his money back. It was no big deal. No one around me even knew what was happening because I stayed calm. But he was literally saying, besides our head instructors, which is you and my husband Ray, all of our instructors were bad except for y'all. And our instructors are like my babies. I take up for them. They're our children. And so I was very nice, very professional, but he upset me more than, anyone would ever know. Gave him back his money, said, thank you so much, your children are wonderful, But I think that upset me, really, really bad. Now, as far as parents, those were the two. As far as the worst experience was when we first owned, who we bought it from, literally in a meeting, he was almost saying that I was a liar because I was checking up on him. And that's the only time I'm almost 50 years old, so 35 years of working at, I don't know how many places did I walk out of a meeting. And I walked out of a meeting, so that was probably the worst experience since we've owned this business. But it still wasn't bad. I never yelled, I never, on any of them. But I walked out because I know my limits.
What is the best advice you can give someone starting out in business?
2 things. Make sure you love what you're going to do. And it's not just because of the money. Never pick a business because of the money. Never. And the other thing is to make sure you take a little bit of time for yourself. When you first start a business, you're going to be 24/7. But make sure you pick, whether it's just taking an hour 3 or 4 times a week to exercise, or whatever it is, go out, take a walk, meditate, spend time with your kids. Make sure you take that time, because those 2 things, if you don't have either one of those, you'll get burned out.
What else would you like to tell me about your business or owning a small business in general?
I think we went over pretty much everything. It's the best when you work for yourself. I mean, even if you hate yourself and get mad at yourself, you gotta, you're there. But it's the best thing ever to wake up every day, go to a place, and know that it's yours. Whatever decisions you make for that day, I mean, it's going to impact it. And so people work harder for themselves, and I just think it's the best thing. But there's nothing to add, because it's just. But you've got to know this is what you want to do. Don't do it for the money.
All right, well, thank you for meeting with me today.
Thank you.